It seems as if the latest round of talks being led from a European perspective by President Macron of France. He's going to be speaking to President Putin. He's talked with President Biden. What hopes do you have that the French dialogue can continue to prevent war?
Thank you very much for this question. Our current situation is very turbulent, but I believe that with support of our international partners, we can be able to move further. First, I want to thank all our international partners from United States to British, France, that are able to build up a strong support from Ukraine. First, it's a IMF program, then it's a MFA program from European Union, and also it was mentioned Canada, Germany, France, and other partners that are doing their best to support Ukraine. Now we are not alone, and we think that this year we can combat all possible situations.
Minister, is all of that commentary helpful, though? Because we've heard from the US and the United Kingdom some quite alarming, extreme language about the high price that Russia would pay if it were to invade, and yet Russia continues to say that it has no intention of invading Ukraine. Is it helpful to hear that language from the US and the United Kingdom, or is there a danger that it inflames the tensions, makes them worse?
Sometimes information can influence us as well, because we see that this month and last month we some complicated ability to borrow abroad. But if you look at broader perspective, it sounds like that both see that Ukraine in a very turbulent situation, and this was in this situation from 2014. So it is not something new for us. We are not make predictions. Either Russia can invade Ukraine or not. It not depends on us. But we see the strong support from our international partners, and it can boost our energy and creates some strong will within Ukraine.
Good morning, Minister. You described the situation as turbulent. What's your estimate of the damage to Ukraine's economy and finances due to this so-called turbulent situation?
Now we see that we have some turbulence in external markets. As I mentioned before, we have limited access on our external markets. Also, it influences our internally, but not so drastic. We are able to make collection taxes. So this previous month we collected 9 billion more taxes as we planned before. Last year we have our performance on our taxation 25% higher, and it helped us to create enough caution to mitigate any risk we can envision.
The president has said that Ukraine needs $4 to $5 billion to stabilize the economy, and he also says conversations with the United States are ongoing. What loans do you expect the United States to provide?
We are now in process of negotiation with the U.S. government, especially with U.S. Treasury, and we proposed support in kind of U.S. guarantee. Now U.S. administration are considering this proposal. And it's not a question of money, it's a question of signal. If the United States can provide a clear signal that they can give us some amount of U.S. guarantee, it helps us very much.
Okay, so you've proposed a US guarantee and you're waiting for the response there. Specifically, which other allies and partners have you discussed loans with, or some other kind of financial support with? Have you discussed it with France yet, or who else have you discussed it with?
We already received support from Canada. It $100 million. Also, I want to thank the European Commission because of fast reaction. They already prepared us very fast unconditional loans, 1.2 billion euros, and I expect that 14 of February we can it will be European Parliament which can be approved this loan as well. Also, it was mentioning Germany, Britain, and other partners that can provide us bilateral support.
You say it's not a question of money, Minister. You say it's a question of the signal that it would send. What kind of signal would it send if you receive loans or other financial support from Western allies?
You know, why I mention signals? Because you see the situation on markets influence us, and that's why we need positive signals to calm down markets, to show that we are strong enough, we are able to repay our debts. And if you look at our macroeconomic perspective, we create a very strong economy, and our budget execution is far away from our current yields. That's why we want to show all the world that Ukraine will be able to execute the key function as a state, so we can be able to repay our debts. And these signals can show that all informational attacks on Ukraine are not worth mentioning with this support from international partners.
When will the IMF deliver its next review? I believe it's sometime this month. And has there been any discussion yet about a relaxation of the conditions for you to receive your next tranche of aid?
Now in constant negotiation with the IMF team, so we expect the next mission as soon as possible. So in our plans, it could be late of February or beginning of March, but it depends on the IMF decision. But we see the progress on our relationships, and we can be able to receive this year $2.2 billion from IMF as well as from other donors.
How normally, Minister, is the Ukrainian economy operating right now? Some people are concerned if there were to be an invasion about what might happen to the agricultural sector, for example. From this, of course, from an economic perspective. What is your assessment of how normally the economy is operating at this point, though?
You know, last figures of previous year shows that our GDP growth for fourth quarter was very good for us. It's 5.9% of GDP, and it creates some boost and energy that situation is quite good. However, it's worth mentioning that the commodity price, like gas price, influence our economy. That's why we also try to find a way how to mitigate this risk on our economy. We find a way how to mitigate this risk on our citizens, but it's also influence our economy, and we'll see how it influence maybe later. But I don't expect any drastic damages because tax collection and revenue over performance in January is better than we expected before.